What's good, Harrison House guests? It's your girl, Mickey.
And I'm Stuart.
And today we are celebrating day 12
Day 12.
of our 28 days of celebrating Black excellence. Yesterday, we
Yesterday on day 11, we did talk about Mr. Jack Johnson.
Yes, we did.
So if you guys did not see that video, please go back, check that video out before you watch this one, because there's some pretty riveting information in that video.
It was.
But today, which is day 12, we're going to be talking about the one and only Miss Phyliss Wheatley.
So I will admit, like, I've always heard of Phyliss Wheatley, but I never heard a lot, and I never knew if that was because like there wasn't a lot of knowledge about her, or if people just didn't really talk about her.
Yeah.
So that's why I decided that she should be one of the people that we go over. In doing some research, though, it's like it's enough, but it's not a lot.
It's not a lot.
Like you can see like what her life was about, but it doesn't. It's not a lot. It's like, and like almost every site or whatever had like the same information. It was like nothing new.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's kind of interesting. Like when we was younger, and like in all the little history books that we did read or whatever, Phyliss Wheatley, like you always saw her. That it was almost like that same picture all the time.
All the time.
And you knew pretty much that she was a writer. You know, she was a poet. But there was nothing really. There was a lot of details about her life that I could find.
It wasn't. But we're gonna go ahead and share some light on what we do know. And as always, if you guys know of anything else that we don't cover in this video, please comment it down below.
So, we do know that she was born in Senegal around 1753. And then she was brought to the United States or kidnapped, what do you want to say? At the age of 8, she was brought here.
She started living with John Wheatley, and at the time, you know, most people, when they went to like an owner, they took the owner's last name. So that's where Wheatley came from. So she lived with him and his wife, Susanna, and they had 2 kids. But Susanna was very, like, she picked up on Phyliss, like, her use of knowledge and words very early on. So she promoted a lot of her, like, being able to do, like, her literary pursuits, She really encouraged that. She even taught her how to read. To enhance those skills that she saw with her early on. So I thought that was just amazing. Over her life, she did have lessons in Latin, Greek mythology, literature, theology. So
and English as well.
Yeah. So I took Greek mythology, but I wouldn't say like I'm versed in it, if that makes sense.
Not.
Like
Not outside of video games and such. But I don't know, that's an accomplishment, especially for that time. We're talking like the 1700s. So for her to be able to read and write and get lessons in all of these things back in that time, that was pretty amazing. Like, I often wonder, like, since we was looking at this, like, what did she have to do? What was her, like, because we always, like we was just saying, like, we don't know what her life was like. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know that certain things happened to her, but her day-to-day life.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm curious to know, like, what that was like for her. One of the good things is she published her first poem around the age of 13.
That's pretty young. I was reading other people's poetry, but I definitely had not had the courage to pick up a pen and write none of my own.
Yeah, we were still in the haiku phase.
Yeah. So, in 1773, she did gain considerable stature with her first and only book of verses, which was a compilation of a bunch of different poems that she had wrote. And how do I want to say this? Basically, it was a book of poetry about various subjects. So it was all kind of different topics and things that she covered in there. But one thing I found pretty interesting was in the preface of the book, it had like 17 different men from Boston, like authors and stuff, like basically saying, yes, she did write these poems. Like,
kind of like validation
yeah.
that she did, right?
And it was like, and one of these was John Hancock, which you learn a lot about in grade school.
Definitely.
But it's like, I don't know. It's like to have the audacity to have to have these people write in this book, like, yeah, she wrote this.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's one of the things that, like, during that time frame, like, she had to deal with. And I mean, it is unfortunate and it's stupid because
y'all really took up 17 pages in my book.
That is what happened. But it's like also just the fact that, like, they didn't believe, like, people didn't believe, I guess, that a little black girl could write these words, or you know what I'm saying, like, she was smart enough to do this. So that's kind of interesting that she had to have that in her book.
Yeah. Okay, maybe I'm just going to be devil's advocate, but this is just something I thought about. Why? And I'm thinking about this. These are noted publishers, these 17 men. They didn't just write a paragraph. Like, they probably took, like, pages. Like,
I don't know, maybe.
And it's like, it's frustrating because it's like, this book is so wide known. Like, it's so known. You often want to know, was it as this known because all these men were in here?
I don't think so. Because they didn't do none of the work. It was just them saying that she is the one that she did come up with the poems. And I just think that's because back then it was so much, she probably faced so much scrutiny, and people in disbelief that she actually, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's messed up in the sense that she needed the confirmation of 17 different white men, but I think it was also something for them to put their names or whatever out there and say that, yeah, she did do this.
Okay.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I
guess I can look at it that way, because I was definitely getting a little tight over here. But I know it did talk about the fact that she did marry. She did have 3 kids, but it did say that all of her kids died in infancy. It doesn't give, like, how long they lived or anything. It just says infancy. And then, unfortunately, like, it's like, it talked about the time she went to Washington, and I believe it was 76 or so. But it didn't talk about what she did. And that was kind of frustrating, because, like, all these different articles said she went there, but it's like, what she go there to do?
In 1776?
I believe so.
Was that independence? The year we gained independence was 1776?
I believe so.
Or they wrote the Declaration of Independence, something like that.
We'll have to do some looking and get back to y'all. But if y'all know, put that in the comment section down below. But it did say that she died in her early 30s in Boston, December 5th, 1784.
I was going to say she lived.
That was, long, yes. But, I mean, I guess the one thing you can say is to be versed in all of those different subjects at that younger age. Yeah. That was pretty interesting.
That was definitely incredible.
So, if you guys do know more about her, as we always say, comment that down below. If you did not see part 11, go back and watch that. We talked about legendary boxer Jack Johnson. So, yes.
We will definitely be back to y'all tomorrow to continue with episode 13 or part 13 or day 13, whatever you want to call it, of our 28 days of celebrating Black excellence for Black History Month 2021. But I'm pretty sure baby don't want to tell y'all who we're going to be talking about. So I guess we will catch y'all tomorrow.
So in the meantime, until time. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, you guys. And as always, thanks for watching. Love y'all. Peace.